Greetings, seeker of calm. In a world that glorifies urgency, let me ask you this. Have you ever noticed that the things that truly belong to you never had to be chased? That what's aligned with your essence has a way of finding you not when you demand it, but when you're ready. They say, what's meant for you will arrive without force. But how do we wait for those things without letting anxiety devour us? If that question stirs something in you, then you're exactly where you need to be. Before we go any further, take a breath. You didn't click on this video by accident. You're part of a rare few, people who want to master their inner world, not be mastered by it. That alone makes you different, special. And if you resonate with that, hit the like button and subscribe. This channel is a space for those who want more than noise, for those who crave depth in a shallow world. Let's dive in. Imagine standing in the middle of a crowded train station. Everyone's in a rush, faces buried in phones, hearts gripped by urgency. You're the only one standing still. People glance at you like you're lost. But what if you're the only one who actually isn't? This is the paradox of waiting. We've been taught that action equals progress, that patience is weakness, and that the one who hustles hardest wins. But let me challenge that. The ancient Stoics, those understood sages of silence, had a different take. To them, waiting wasn't a pause. It was a presence. They believed that virtue was not in controlling what comes, but in mastering how we respond while we wait. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor who held the weight of an empire on his shoulders, once wrote, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do." That's not surrender. That's power. But in today's world, we associate waiting with weakness. We refresh notifications, obsess over results, and panic at stillness. Our minds scream, "Why hasn't it happened yet?" But consider this. Is your anxiety really about the wait, or about the fear that what you want won't come at all? Here's the hard truth. Much of our anxiety isn't caused by time. It's caused by attachment. We believe something must happen a certain way, in a certain time frame, or we spiral. Yet when you remove that pressure, peace begins to breathe again. Let me tell you a short story. There was a farmer whose horse ran away. His neighbors said, "Such bad luck." The farmer simply replied, "Maybe." The next day, the horse returned with 3 wild horses. "What good fortune," said the neighbor. Again, the farmer replied, "Maybe." The day after, his son broke his leg, trying to tame one of the horses. "How terrible," the neighbor said. And the farmer replied, "Maybe." Soon after, the army came to the village to recruit young men for war. Because his son was injured, he was spared. We rush to judge moments as good or bad. But wisdom, real wisdom, lives in the maybe, in the space where we release control and open ourselves to the unfolding. And yet, this isn't about being passive. Stoicism isn't about folding your arms and waiting for fate. It's about doing your part and then letting go of what you can't own. Like planting a seed, you water it, you tend the soil, but you don't scream at the sky demanding fruit. That would be madness. Yet that's exactly how we treat our dreams. To wait without anxiety is to say, "I've done what I can. Now, let life meet me halfway." And strangely enough, that's when things begin to flow. But let's not be naive. Waiting without anxiety sounds beautiful in theory. But what about when you're in the thick of it? When silence stretches on and you feel forgotten by the universe? Here's where it gets uncomfortable and real. Because the art of waiting without anxiety doesn't begin when things are calm. It begins when you're aching for a sign. It begins when everyone around you seems to be moving ahead, while you're stuck in a hallway with no visible doors. That's the proving ground of patience. That's where you either become bitter or become unshakable. You see, the anxious mind loves to whisper, if it hasn't arrived yet, maybe it never will. But what if that voice is wrong? What if the delay isn't denial, but preparation? You wouldn't pull a cake out of the oven halfway through and expect it to be edible. Yet we do that with life. We interrupt our own timing with panic. Here's something rarely said out loud. Sometimes life withholds what you want, because the version of you that can receive it hasn't fully formed yet. That job, that person, that opportunity, it might require a strength you're still building, a wisdom you're still earning. And life, in its quiet intelligence, waits, not to punish you, but to protect what's sacred. That's why waiting is not empty time. It's not limbo. It's training. It's like the space between notes in a symphony. It feels like nothing, but it holds everything together. Take the biblical story of Joseph, betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, imprisoned for years. By every external measure, it looked like he had been forgotten by destiny. But beneath the surface, something was happening. He was being tempered, sharpened, prepared. And when the time came, he didn't just survive. He led a nation through famine. Now, not everyone believes in divine stories. That's fine. But truth doesn't belong to one book. It shows up in patterns, in people, in your own life. Think about it. How many times have you been spared from something you thought you wanted, only to later realize it would have broken you? How many delays turned out to be redirections? So many live in a trance of not yet, constantly grasping, constantly waiting for permission to feel whole. But when you anchor your peace to outcomes, you become a slave to circumstances. The Stoics knew this trap. That's why they placed their peace in something that no delay could touch, their own character. And that's your superpower too. You are not the delay. You are not the silence. You are the one watching it all, shaping who you are in the wait. That puts you ahead of most. Because here's the twist most people miss. The real anxiety isn't about waiting. It's about not trusting life, not trusting timing, and, perhaps hardest of all, not trusting yourself. You might say, but I do trust myself. Okay. Then why the rush? Why the fear? Why that hollow ache when things don't happen fast enough? Because deep down, there's a whisper that says, maybe I'm not enough unless this thing happens. But listen closely, that's not your soul speaking. That's conditioning. We've been sold a lie. That fulfillment is somewhere else, and it's just out of reach. A relationship, a job title, a certain number in a bank account. So we chase, we overextend, we burn out, all to get to a place we were told would finally make us feel like we matter. But what if you're already enough right now? Not when the dream arrives, not when someone sees your value. Now, in this moment, even in the middle of the waiting. See, when you know your worth, you stop needing constant proof. And when you stop needing proof, you stop chasing. That doesn't mean you stop moving or striving. It just means your peace isn't held hostage by things beyond your control. This is where we flip the script. Waiting is no longer something you suffer through. It becomes something you practice. It becomes your edge. There's an elegance in not forcing, in letting things come to you. Have you ever noticed how the most magnetic people aren't the ones chasing validation? They're the ones radiating stillness. They move slower. They listen more. They speak with purpose, because they know something others don't. Urgency is often insecurity in disguise. Let me put it this way. Have you ever watched someone truly at peace while the world spun around them? It's almost eerie, right? Like watching a candle stay lit in a storm. That presence, that calm, it doesn't come from luck. It comes from choosing trust over panic, again and again. And maybe that's your calling, not to be the fastest, not to be the loudest, but to be the most centered, to walk through life not asking, when will it happen? But rather, who am I becoming while I wait? Because that question changes everything. So here's the truth. The art of waiting without anxiety is not just a mindset. It's a rebellion. In a world that glorifies urgency, being calm is revolutionary. Choosing to trust your path, even when you can't see the next step, is an act of quiet defiance. And while the world rushes toward empty destinations, you're learning to stay grounded, to breathe deeper, to move with purpose instead of panic. Because you've started to understand something most people never will. What's meant for you isn't hiding, it's aligning. Quietly, patiently, and when it arrives, it won't knock you over. It'll feel like something returning home, like a truth you always knew, finally stepping into form. The stillness you're cultivating right now, it's not passive, it's powerful. It's the fire before the bloom, the silence before the symphony. And if you've made it this far, it's because you're not just a watcher of life, you're becoming a master of it. That's rare, that's dangerous, in the best possible way. So don't let the noise pull you back into panic. Keep walking, keep trusting, and remember, those who carry stillness change everything they touch. If this resonated with you, if even a single sentence made you feel seen, then this space is yours. Like this video, subscribe, be part of a community that's not chasing the world, but rising above it. And if you're ready for the next step in your journey, I'll see you in the next video.